Okay. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all here. We're going to rise now for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Sarah, would you like to start us off with the pledge?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, can we have a moment of silence? Thanking all of our veterans, our first responders, and all who volunteer in the town to make this the wonderful place that it is. Okay, thank you.
Amen.
We have a lot of busy people who have a lot of appointments, so we have to go through this rather quickly. To start out with, we're going to ask our supervisor, Ed Lachterman, if he would get up and give us an update. Officially, Deputy Supervisor.
Good afternoon, all. Nice to see a nice crowd today. I know we have some speakers from the hospital, so we can learn a few things and get some tips at Trader Joe's as well, I think. So really, I just wanted to come by. We spoke Wednesday as at the Senior Center, and I do see a few faces here that take advantage. I don't see a lot of faces, though, in the room that take advantage of our Senior Center and our Nutrition Center. So I did want to talk about that just because, some people say, I don't need a meal, so I don't need to go there. But it's not about a meal. Our Nutrition Center is about camaraderie, friendship, fun. We had dancing. Paulie and his wife Donna came in, and it was a great party, and it was really nice. And you might be in a place where you also don't really need a ton of company because you have a lot of friends and you have a lot of family. But I will say that there are people there that so enjoy that interaction and so enjoy that camaraderie and that party and that great time. So please consider going over. Noreen, what's the price on a meal? For
$3.
$3 for
no one's turned away.
Right, but no one's turned away. It's a recommended $3 donation, but it doesn't have to be. But I just wanted to say, because being there and having that fun, and my wife was with me, and Diana was there, Patrick Murphy stopped in, as did Sergio and Luciana, and it was a great time. And I want you to consider it just based on that. And hours of operation?
Everything starts at 10. The bingo starts at 10. Bingo's an important part. Starts at 10, and lunch is served at 12.
Yeah, very good. So please consider that. The other thing I would like to update on. So I was already threatened. I can't talk about the special election because Diana has all that information for you. But I can talk to you if you've been coming in for the meetings. One of the biggest things that I've heard, especially Rosemary Panio and Jenny Menton, are two of the people that always talk to me about it. What are we doing for senior housing options for people who want to stay in Yorktown but don't want to deal with their house anymore? So we've had two projects coming before the board. One of them has not been back in a little bit, but I did have a meeting with them. That's at the old Kelly Blue Book site, if you know where that is. It's on 6N, Contractors Registry. It's close to the Taconic over by Route 6. And they're looking to do a 55 and older senior community, which is a wonderful, wonderful option. And they'll have some apartment living and some townhouse living, and really giving us some great options. The other is literally as far across on the opposite corner as you could get, which is over by the Field Home. So the Field Home had some property, and Toll Brothers are coming in, and they're trying to do a really nice senior community there as well. So they actually came in. I have a site visit with them. I want to say it's next week, We're going to look at a few things there, and one of the nice things there is they are looking to save the old field home building. My wife remembers being a Girl Scout and going there, and it's a beautiful, beautiful building, and we need to talk about some options for it, but hopefully that's something that'll be there. But the really important takeaway is that there are some projects that are gearing specifically for 55 and older, giving options and being able to downsize in your community rather than saying, I want to leave. Because, you know what, I love Yorktown, and I have my mother-in-law who's not here today, but she's Sicilian, and as she said, I'm not leaving this house unless it's feet first. So she wants to stay in her community. She wants to stay in Yorktown. She actually wants to stay in her house. And those are the options that people will have, but eventually she might want something a little smaller.
Yep.
And that's where we're working towards. And well, I have one thing. I haven't really gotten it out and announced yet.
You can tell us.
We could tell you. So you're going to be the people who know it first off. There was a lot of talk at the Soundview and a lot of talk about preserving and making sure things were protected. We ended up with a protective covenant, which you may or may not know, which protects the house itself, the walls, the gate, the pond, all on the property and in perpetuality, as it's a deed restriction now, where people would have to come to the town board even after purchasing it to make changes and or tear down, if that were the case, if something was so far gone. But interestingly, there were a lot of people saying, we should make the landowner do things, and I don't believe in that. You do what you want with your property. But Sergio made a point, as Councilman Esposito, who said, if someone wanted to come in with their own money and save something, they're more than welcome to. Well, a gentleman heard that who happens to be a man of the cloth, and he is going to pay to have the chapel taken, trimmed up, cleaned up, moved on the property, and live there as part of it. It just went through planning on Monday and was approved for that. So it actually does work, where sometimes when you say, hey, if you want to come in here, but I think it's great because out of all the buildings around there, even though it's not through the historical period, that chapel is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's built in the 1930s, and it's a very nice-looking building if you get past the condition of it. So that'll be something that'll be happening there, so the chapel will also be saved at the Soundview property. So that's really about all I have today.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming.
Yeah. Were there any questions or?
Anyone have any questions from the audience?
Well, let me run while the running's good. Thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
And happy St. Patrick's Day to all, too.
Okay. You should. I know you said your wife is Sicilian, so you should also mention St. Joseph. Oh.
Yes, a very, very happy feast of St. Joseph.
Okay. Today we have a very wonderful guest, Dr. Jessica Harris, gastroenterologist from New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital, and she's going to talk to us about the fact that this is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. Mm-hmm. Come up, Wendy, and introduce. This is Wendy McNamara.
I'm going to read on my side. This is why I love coming here. Thank you, everybody. It's great to see a full house,
Yeah.
right? Welcome, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Wendy McNamara. I'm the coordinator of community affairs for New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital. I would like to thank Rosemary and the board for inviting us to come and speak today on the very important topic of colon cancer awareness. March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital is your neighborhood hospital, serving the heart of the Hudson Valley community with specialties in cardiology, cancer care, digestive health, orthopedics, obstetrics, gynecology, and gastroenterology. It is my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Dr. Jessica Paige Harris. Dr. Harris is a gastroenterologist with the New York Presbyterian Medical Group Hudson Valley and an assistant professor of medicine at Columbia University Irving Medical Center. She's board certified in gastroenterology and internal medicine and specializes in diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of diseases and disorders of the digestive tract. Dr. Harris grew up in Cortland Manor.
Oh.
Dr. Harris was born at our hospital back when it was Peekskill Hospital, and Dr. Harris's parents still live up here. So she is truly a native of this area. Okay. She graduated from Williams College, received her medical degree from the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, completed her residency at Stony Brook University Hospital, and her fellowship at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Dr. Harris's office is right down the road at 2649 Strang Boulevard, and we are so pleased that she could join us here today to speak on this important topic. Welcome, Dr. Harris.
Can everybody hear me? Hear me all right? All right. Thank you all for coming today. I'm Dr. Harris, as Wendy mentioned, one of the gastroenterologists with the New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Group. I'm happy to be here today in honor of Colon Cancer Awareness Month. As Wendy mentioned, I'm a local, born and raised here, so very happy to be back in the community, working and living. My primary office is just a few miles down the road, so nice to see some of the Yorktown community here today. Has anybody here had a colonoscopy before or know anybody that's had a colonoscopy? Can I see some hands? Okay. All right. Not so bad. Not so bad. Glad to see this. One of the biggest updates with regard to colon cancer screening is the age to begin screening. As of 2021, the age to begin colon cancer screening has been lowered to 45, previously 50. This is for average risk individuals. So what is an average risk individual? An average risk individual is somebody with no family history of colon cancer or somebody without a history of precancerous polyps. For those with a family history of colon cancer or with a personal history of certain conditions like inflammatory bowel disease or colitis, earlier screening is probably indicated. So who should be screened? Our current guidelines recommend screening for everybody between the ages of 45 and 75. After 75, this can be considered on a case-by-case basis, depending on your risk factors, personal history. So you should definitely talk to your doctor about the risks and benefits of a colonoscopy after age 75. According to the National Institutes of Health, an average of 153,000 cases of colon cancer were diagnosed last year. This is behind only breast, prostate, and lung cancers. As rates of colon cancer survival continue to improve with medical and scientific advances, it's important to remember that colon cancer is largely preventable. Often colon cancer begins as a polyp or a growth in the lining of the colon that advances over time to become cancerous. During colonoscopies, these polyps or growths can be removed, preventing colon cancer from developing. Are there symptoms of colon cancer? Rectal bleeding and a change in bowel habits are the most common alarm symptoms, and these should prompt investigation. However, sometimes very early colon cancer has no symptoms, so this is why it's very important to stay up to date with routine screening. Are there risk factors for colon cancer? Aside from a family history of colon cancer, a personal history of these precancerous polyps, a history of obesity, diabetes, tobacco use, and moderate to heavy alcohol use may increase the risk of colon cancer. A diet high in red meat and processed meats can also increase the risk. We are learning more and more about certain genetic conditions that can also predispose to colon cancer. So let's talk about the colonoscopy process from A to Z. Take away a little of the fear of the unknown, although it seems like many people have had colonoscopy, so very happy to see that. All right. So when you see your primary care doctor for your annual physical, he or she may tell you, based on your records, that you might be due for the colonoscopy. Your doctor might schedule you directly for the colonoscopy, meaning the gastroenterologist will call you, set up an appointment for the colonoscopy, and then you'll meet your doctor the day of the procedure. Alternatively, based on your preferences, your primary doctor may have you see the gastroenterologist first in the office. At this visit, you'll talk about the colonoscopy, the preparation, the risks and benefits, and the details of the procedure in depth. A colonoscopy usually lasts for about 20 or 30 minutes. It's a same-day procedure where you'll be at the endoscopy center for about 2 or 3 hours from start to finish. During the procedure, you're sedated, you're comfortable, you don't feel anything. Very important that you arrange for a driver to take you to and from the colonoscopy to make sure that you get home safe. It's important to talk to your gastroenterologist about your medications beforehand, especially if you take any blood thinners, because these blood thinners may need to be stopped prior to the procedure. If you're a diabetic, you might need to adjust your medications, especially if you're on insulin. So very important to talk to your endocrinologist or your primary care doctor about how to adjust these medications beforehand. 3 days before the colonoscopy, we ask that you stick to a low-fiber diet, meaning a diet low in raw fruits and vegetables, corn and whole grains like oatmeal, rice, quinoa, and low in seeds and nuts. The day before the colonoscopy, you need to stick to a clear liquid diet and be sure not to eat any solid foods. It's important to not drink anything red or orange or purple colored. Clear liquids like chicken broth, hard candies, clear fruit juices, Gatorade, seltzer, tea, black coffee are all fine. All right. The afternoon prior to your procedure, you'll need to start taking the bowel prep or the laxative cleanse. There are many options for different preparations that range from over-the-counter preparations, prescription preparations, and nowadays there are even tablet preparations. So your doctor will prescribe an option for you based on your preferences and your insurance coverage. Very important to not drink anything 4 hours before the procedure. Once you arrive at the endoscopy center, you'll meet the nursing staff, you'll meet the gastroenterologist again, who will talk to you about the procedure, see if you have any further questions, and then you'll meet with the anesthesiologist, who will be administering the anesthesia for the procedure. Once you're in the endoscopy room, you've done all the hard part, you're put to sleep with anesthesia, made nice and comfortable, and then the camera is inserted through the rectum to take a look throughout the whole colon. Your gastroenterologist is able to see the colon on a large screen and able to detect and look for any abnormalities. Any abnormalities can be biopsied, any polyps or these growths can be removed at that time. The procedure again takes about 20 or 30 minutes. After the procedure, you're monitored very closely until you wake up. Once you wake up, your gastroenterologist will speak with you, tell you all the findings, and we'll discuss when to repeat the exam. Your nurse will provide you with discharge instructions, and then you're free to go. Once you go home, you can eat light foods. You can resume all normal activities the next day. It's not so scary, right? No. Not so bad. Okay. So a common question is there an alternative to colon cancer screening? And the answer is yes. All right. There are now many stool-based tests that screen for colon cancer for an average risk individual. So again, if there's no history of colon cancer in your family, you've never had these precancerous kinds of polyps, you might be a candidate for a non-invasive stool-based tests. Has anyone heard of the Cologuard exam? Mm-hmm. Okay, yes. So you saw a couple of people. So the Cologuard is one option for a stool-based test. You submit a sample of your stool. It checks for blood, different DNA markers. If the test comes back negative, you don't need a colonoscopy, and this is repeated in 3 years. Yeah. If the Cologuard comes back positive, then you need a colonoscopy to investigate to see what's going on. Again, this is only indicated for somebody without a family history and with no history of precancerous polyps. There's another alternative called a virtual colonoscopy. Has anyone heard of this test before? Yes, I see some people. Okay. So this is another alternative that's a CAT scan. So you still take the bowel laxative cleanse, and then you have a specialized kind of CAT scan that takes a look at the colon in detail. If there are any abnormalities, we say, come back for the colonoscopy. Let's take a look. But if everything's normal, the radiologist doesn't see anything concerning, then you're okay. And that's repeated in 5 years. So it's important to remember there are other alternatives to the colonoscopy. In summary, the colonoscopy does remain the gold standard for colon cancer screening, but the best test is the test that you agree to do. So make sure you talk to your primary care doctors, your gastroenterologists, see if you're due for colon cancer screening. And remember, colon cancer is largely preventable. So remind your loved ones, your friends, to stay up to date with colon cancer screening. All right. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. All right. We have a couple. Yes, go for it.
You mentioned bleeding. I
Yes.
had a colonoscopy about a year ago.
Yeah.
Everything tested great.
Great.
So I'll give an example. I had bleeding last 4 days. I know I have hemorrhoids. Is that a major concern? I know I'm doing specifics here, but
Sure.
is that something I should call one of the doctors and say, look, I have bleeding? Or is that like something that'll, after a certain amount of time, it's like I should be concerned?
Sure, I understand. So we have a question about rectal bleeding.
Yeah, right.
Had a colonoscopy about a year ago. Everything was okay, but seeing some rectal bleeding over the past few days. So there are many different causes of rectal bleeding. Of course, the causes can range from very benign conditions like hemorrhoids to something more significant like a colon cancer. In somebody that's had a recent colonoscopy within the past year, the chance of something significant is very low. All right, so we start thinking of other potential causes, hemorrhoids, which are the most common. So, always if there's prolonged bleeding, it's a good idea to talk to your doctor about it. But typically in someone that's been recently evaluated like yourself, the chance of anything significant is low. And again, hemorrhoids remain the most common cause of rectal bleeding.
And one other fast question to follow
Sure,
up to that.
of course.
Would that cause someone to be kind of anemic from the bleeding from that? Or that's really not a lot of blood that I think it is?
Sure. So the question was about can rectal bleeding from hemorrhoids cause anemia? Typically, no. Hemorrhoid bleeding, usually it appears to be significant. Sometimes it can turn the toilet bowl red tinge. It can be alarming to see. But typically, rectal bleeding from hemorrhoids is not significant enough to actually drop the blood counts. But again, always a good idea to talk to your doctor if any symptoms remain unresolved.
Accountable. Thank you.
Of course, absolutely. Do you have a question in the front?
At what age are colonoscopies
Sure.
not necessary or recommended?
Great question. So at what age are colonoscopies not necessarily recommended anymore? So our guideline societies say up through age 75, everybody should have a colonoscopy. From 75 through 85, it's really a case-by-case basis. I have done colonoscopies on people in this age group, as have many other gastroenterologists, all dependent on your risk factors. So if somebody's in overall good health, very high risk for procedures, for example, a history of colon cancer, a history of multiple precancerous polyps, it might be reasonable to do the colonoscopy. Again, it's always a discussion about the risks and benefits, but it's not out of the question. After age 75, our guideline societies say there is no benefit to a colonoscopy. Colon polyps are very slow growing. It's believed that it takes years and years and years to develop into anything significant, which is the reason why these colonoscopies, when normal, are done every 10 years. So really, by age 75, our societies say the risks of the procedure, sedation, anesthesia, causing a tear, really outweigh the benefits. So after age 85, there really is, a strong cutoff.
Any more questions?
Okay. Yes, question in the back.
Can you talk a little bit
Yeah.
about if there's a family history of colon cancer and it was at like a lower age, like if you had a parent who got it when they were 50,
Sure.
should you then when should you start testing?
Okay, excellent question. So when should you start colon cancer screening if there's a family history of colon cancer? So the recommendation, if you have a first-degree family member with colon cancer, a sibling, a parent, or a child, it's recommended to start colon cancer screening at age 40 or 10 years before that person was diagnosed with colon cancer, whichever comes first. So if you have a family member, let's say a parent was diagnosed at 55, you should start at age 40. All right, and then your colonoscopies are repeated more frequently than the average person. So somebody with a colon cancer history in their family, colonoscopies are repeated every 5 years rather than every 10 years because you're considered average risk. So again, if you have a family member that was diagnosed with colon cancer at age 45, you would start screening 10 years before that, so 35, rather than waiting till age 40. So always important, to come prepared with your family history if you have that ability.
Dr. Harris, is it
Sure.
true that there are a lot of younger people getting colon cancer now? colorectal cancer?
So it does appear that colon cancer and colon polyps are becoming more and more prevalent at a younger age. So the reason why the colon cancer screening age was lowered to age 45 was that the societies looked at the data and saw that this age group from 45 to 50 was really mimicking the 50 to 55 age group in terms of polyp prevalence and colon cancers. So that this is the reason why the colon cancer screening age was lowered to 45.
Is there any reason why you think that is taking place? Is it diet? Is it lifestyle?
So these are great questions, and I think the answer is yes to that. We don't really know. We think that it's something to do with environmental, something that we're eating, processed foods that we're consuming. We don't know, but that's the thought process. Is probably something to do with environmental and food intake.
Interesting.
Question? Yes.
Would the Cologuard be able to pick up on the polyps, or just if you had cancer?
So the question is about the Cologuard, if the Cologuard test can pick up on polyps. So the Cologuard test, what it does is it looks for blood and DNA markers. So if there's a significant polyp, this should be detected on the Cologuard test. The issue with a Cologuard test is that when the test comes back negative, it's a great test. You can have confidence that nothing significant is going on. When the test comes back positive, it's not as great because there are frequent false positives. So for people that have a positive Cologuard test, studies have shown that those people who go on to have colonoscopies, only about 4% of the time is there a true cancer. About in the 40% or so, they are polyps or precancerous polyps. And then about 50% of the time, there's really nothing, so a false positive. So it's a great test when it comes back negative. When it comes back positive, you need the colonoscopy, undoubtedly, but there are a lot of false positives. So.
Good.
Any other questions? Does anyone do for their colonoscopy? All right, don't forget. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, we're going to ask.
35. You're with you.
Will you ask Gerald, please, to stop? I'm sorry, I'm talking while he's trying to interrupt. Diana, we're going to ask our town clerk, Diana Quast, to talk to us a little bit about what she's doing, what she wants us to do.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about elections and what's coming up. So I'm going to bring it up on the screen so that you can see it. The Westchester County Board of Elections has changed the polling locations for 4 of our districts. That change just recently came about. So District 2, which previously voted at the Elks Lodge, is now going to go to Town Hall to vote. District 13, which was previously at the John C. Hart Memorial Library, is now going to go to Lakeland High School. District 16, which was at Town Hall, is now going to go to the Yorktown Community and Cultural Center. And District 38, which was previously at the John C. Hart Memorial Library, is going to go to the Lakeland High School. I'm told they've made these changes to because under state law, election districts must be contiguous to the polling location. I would probably argue that a little bit, but in this case, we're so close to our elections that I think that it'd do us better to get the word out. So you. Mm-hmm. Village it all stays. The only 4 changes are the ones that I just mentioned. Okay? So you have a presidential primary election on Tuesday, April 2nd. Early voting starts Saturday, March 23rd, and will go to Sunday, March 31st. Your early voting locations are at the Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center Gym and at the Jefferson Village Annex. The deadline for voter registration is March 23rd. That is the last day applications must be received by the Board of Elections, and it's also the last day to receive your absentee or early mail ballot applications. We have a special election for to fill the unexpired term of supervisor for the town of Yorktown on Tuesday, April 16th. Your early voting times are Saturday, April 6th through Sunday, April 14th. Your early voting locations remain the same. which are the Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center Gym and the Jefferson Village Annex. The hours, if you'll look up there, and I will tell you that I've printed out April's schedule. It's in the back of the room, and you can take one with you if you like. But the hours are Saturday, April 6th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Sunday, April 7th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday, April 8th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday, April 9th from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m., Wednesday, April 10th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Thursday, April 11th from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m., Friday, April 12th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday, April 13th from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m., and Sunday, April 14th, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. April 15th is a day off, and then April 16th will be your election day. Your federal, state, and local primary election is going to be June 25th. Again, you have early voting dates from Saturday, June 15th through Sunday, June 23rd. Your early voting locations are the Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center Gym and the Jefferson Village Annex. Your deadline for voter registration for that is June 15th, along with the deadline for your absentee or early voting ballot applications. And the last one of the year is going to be the general election, which is Tuesday, November 5th. Early voting will begin Saturday, October 26th, and end on Sunday, November 3rd. Your early voting locations are the Albert A. Capellini and Community and Cultural Center and the Jefferson Village Annex. The deadline for registration for the general election is October 26, 2024. That's the last day applications must be received by the Board of Elections. That's also the deadline for your absentee ballot and your early voting ballots. So if you have any questions, you can certainly contact the Westchester County Board of Elections at their website, which is citizenparticipation.westchestergov.com, or you can call them at 914-995-5700. You may also contact the town clerk's office at 914-962-8152. That is my direct line because we've been having problems with our phone service in Town Hall for quite a few weeks. So if you need to get us, call us on the direct line.
What is your direct line again?
914-962-8152. You can also email me at dquast@yorktownny.org.
Is that printed out any place where people can?
It's up on the screen.
I'm not up on the screen. I'm talking
And
about.
yes,
Take away.
you'll see on the paperwork I put in the back of the room on the table. You'll see our public notice for all of the April elections. You'll also see the applications for early mail ballot and also for absentee. Absentee ballots, typically you need a reason. You're right on there. You're going to be out of the county, or you're sick or ill, but you also have the option to do early mail ballot, which you don't need a reason to ask for. The state changed the law, so you don't need a reason to use a mail-in ballot.
Oh, good. Very good.
The applications. Yeah, I have them in the back of the room, too. That's fine.
Okay,
So,
thank
do
you.
you have any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Yes. I don't know, Mia.
For the April, that special election, will the swearing in be sooner than, say, the general election?
As soon as the Board of Elections certifies that election and declares a winner, then that person can be sworn into office.
So it'll be sooner than.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you very much, Diana. If you have any questions, call Diana. Okay. Now we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Yvonne Check. She is the director of the library, and she's going to talk to you about how many wonderful things there are there for seniors to do. Thank you, Yvonne.
Hello, everybody, and thank you to Rosemary and to the entire board for inviting us here today. And again, my name is Yvonne Check, and I am from the John C. Hart Memorial Library. So I want to ask first, have any of you been to the library lately? I see a lot of faces that are familiar. We are going to talk to you today about our services and our programs. But I want to let you know that we've been making a lot of changes at the building. So some of you who have been there recently have seen some of the things that we've been doing. And we're renovating our main community room, which is the original old house, the John C. Hart family home. And so you may be aware that that house was actually built before the Civil War, and that the extensions that you see to the house that make up the sort of main part of the library today were actually built before the invention of the internet. And there haven't really been any major renovations since then. And while this isn't really a major renovation, it's kind of a facelift to that space. And those of you who have been in that room know that it's been too small for our town, and so we often have to turn people away from a program because the program is full. So we tried to think, what can we do about that without expanding our walls? Because of course it's an iconic old building, so we want to preserve that. But what can we do? So there was a freestanding closet that took up a lot of space in that room. We had it removed. We put a new floor in, had the walls painted, new ceiling, and it really opens up the space, and you can now see some of the sort of original elegance of that room. And so it really looks terrific. If you haven't been there, go take a look. It looks really great. I also wanted to say that we did the majority of the work on that room with a grant from New York State Library. They paid for 50% of all the cost of that. And one of the things that we were hoping is we had these sort of industrial-looking heat registers that were very, very old, and we were hoping we could replace them, but it turned out it wasn't really in our budget by the time we got all the prices in. And then we had a small miracle happen where a gentleman came in one day and he loved what we were doing with the space, and he, on the spot, made a $5,000 donation. Wow. And that allowed us to do some of these finishing touches that we weren't going to be able to do. So we were really thrilled, and that was just somebody from our community who loves the library and was happy to see us kind of restore it to its original elegance. So I just wanted to share that because I thought it was a great story. So be sure and stop by and take a look and let us know what you think. I now want to introduce our head of adult services, Allison Egan. She has been at this job now. She's been with the library for several years, but she's moved into the role of head of adult services about almost a year ago. And during that year, she has been working really diligently to update our book collection, both our actual books and ebooks. And how many people here read ebooks? Yeah, some people do. And so she's working really hard on updating our collection and also bringing us a lot of new and really varied programs. So I let her tell you all about that, and I want to introduce now Allison Egan, our head of adult services.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you, Yvonne. Sorry, I just lost my voice. Good afternoon. My name is Allison. I'm from the John C. Hart Memorial Library. I see a lot of familiar faces, which makes me very happy. Some of you I don't recognize. Hopefully that means that you will be coming to the library soon, because we do have a lot of programming that is planned at the library, and I just wanted to highlight a few. If you've been to the library recently, you may have noticed that our card catalog in front of the reference desk is now once again fully stocked with seeds. Last year we launched the Seed Library. Does anybody know what that is? So just like books, we now have seeds that the library provides for patrons to borrow and to plant and harvest. Hopefully, if you get a successful harvest, you can then take your seeds that you got and return them to the library. It's really exciting. It's our second year doing it. It just launched last week, and we already are putting in another order for seeds, which is great. Along the lines of that, we also have programming with gardening all throughout this month and next month. I did bring in the back, I think I came in a little bit after some of you, our April calendar, so I'd love for everybody to take a look at that. We have a gardening program later on in the month with Cornell Cooperative about gardening with vegetables and flowers that I definitely encourage everyone to attend. Next week we have a program with the Gardening Club that they're sponsoring with Hilltop Hanover, talking about getting your garden ready and seed starting. So if anyone is interested in that, you're more than welcome to attend. In addition, with our spring programming coming up, we do have chair yoga, which is a very popular program at the library. Fortunately, or unfortunately, it was offline for a little while we were doing construction, but now that we have the large community room, we are able to fit more people in there, which is great. So that's going to be offered twice in April and also twice in May. Again, all that information is on our calendar. So I just wanted to talk briefly a little bit about the programs that happen at the library ongoing and consistently that you may or may not be aware of. Similar to the Senior Center, we do have drop-in programs that happen almost daily. Anyone is welcome to attend. There's no reservation needed. On Mondays and Fridays, we have Mahjong. Mondays, it's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and Fridays, it's 12:30 to 2:30. So there's a group there right now. On Wednesdays, we have a group that plays canasta from 12:30 to 2:30. This is actually one of our newest drop-in groups, and they've really started to gain steam. I would say like 10 to 12 individuals play that weekly, and they're a really fun group. So if you are interested in canasta or you've never played, I would definitely check that out. And then, of course, we have our longest running drop-in program, which is our Quilting and Needlework Club, and they meet every Thursdays at 10 a.m. to 12. So again, that is on the back of the calendar that I brought. These groups run weekly. You can come one week if you can't come the next week. If you can't make Mahjong on a Monday, you're more than welcome to come on a Friday. I think our times are varied enough because some people I know like to do morning programs and afternoon programs, so you're welcome to attend any and all of them. And then just one other program I wanted to highlight is we have Teen Tech Help. Last summer, I know we had it about 3 days a week. We're hoping to have something similar this summer as well once the teens are out of school. But right now, every Friday from 2:30 to 4, we have teens from the local high schools that are at the library volunteering their time to help with a variety of tech questions. There are times I am not embarrassed to admit that I have gone to them myself for things because they are so good at figuring things out. But they're a great group. They're well organized. They're very helpful. There again is no appointment necessary. You can just come in with your device and they will help you with that. And then just one other thing, we are looking to add more tech programming during the day when the teens are not available. So keep a lookout on our website for later this spring. We'll have some more programs planned.
Very important.
Yes, definitely. So again, I brought the calendar with some information on the drop-in. I also have the flyer for the seed library, and I brought some pens because who doesn't like a pen? So does anybody have any questions?
Did you have tax help at one time?
So the AARP tax advisors, they do come to the library on Mondays. I was told by the woman who runs the program they are pretty booked up. Do you know, is there any availability at your location?
I don't know. They come on Tuesdays there.
Oh, there you go. I knew you looked so familiar. I couldn't figure it. Yes.
Yeah, sorry to say they are pretty booked up and have to have an appointment.
Right. So it is by appointment only. And Julie, who is our liaison, said, definitely still call the phone number, but unfortunately we're getting towards crunch time that they are pretty booked up, but she said that they'll do their best to accommodate people. But if you have already been working with them, definitely still call the number and she'll try to help as much as possible.
It's good to know even for next year. People can,
absolutely. Yeah. And there are locations throughout Westchester County. So if you call that number and our location is unavailable, there's a chance that maybe she knows. I know that they do it at the community center on Tuesdays, right?
On Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do not have that number with us. I guess they organize through the
AARP.
Right.
Yeah.
So if anybody had that number, that would be great.
I can look it up and I will give it to you before I leave here.
we could-
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
I
through
was just thinking if we could
AARP,
announce
but
Right.
they, they have a network of all throughout Westchester County. So like I said, our location is pretty full right now, but maybe they can pair you with a different location.
Mm-hmm.
I do know Terrytown, the Warner Library, their program is drop-in, no appointment necessary. So ours, and I believe that the community center are only appointments.
And do they tell you what you need to provide?
Yeah, so they have a list of all of the different, I'm not a tax expert, but all the different tax forms that you need to bring for them in order to complete the taxes.
Good, very good.
Yeah.
How is the passport area doing?
It's doing very well. So we also offer passport services at the library. It is for first-time passport applications only. Renewals you do by yourself through the mail. And it's also for, the exception to that is anyone under the age of 18, even if their passport expired, they're considered new. So for that, you can make an appointment. There are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. You would make an appointment through the library. And yeah, it's going well.
Good.
Yep.
Do you still take donated books?
Yes, a great question. Yes, we do still take donations. The Friends of the Library are the ones who actually run that program. They accept book donations the first 5 days of the month. Yep, so the next time would be, I guess, April 1st. And I actually just found out this morning from our director that the Friends of the Library book sale is moving a little bit earlier this year. In the past, they've always been around mid-October, and they're actually moving to end of September. So if you ever visit the book sale, it's going to be a little bit earlier, but again, keep an eye out for the exact dates for that.
It's a good, I know when we moved, we donated a lot of
Yeah.
our books to the library.
Yeah.
We just didn't have the wall space for
Yeah.
all of those books that we had collected over 50 years, you know.
And we've been lucky too, because I have a lot of very creative team members and staff that we've used some of the old books and we've been doing some crafting programs with them. So we actually have one coming up at the end of the month, making like an old village out of books. In January, we had a book folding one. So again, any crafters out there, definitely keep an eye on our calendars because we're trying to, do the best we can.
Where are these calendars?
So I have it printed in the back. And
Okay.
then I also give programs, I think whenever the senior newsletter comes out every other month, I provide a list of our programs in that as well. You can always visit our website, yorktownlibrary.org. Oh, yep, he's showing it right there. Or if you come into the library, we have them posted all throughout that you can pick up.
Good.
Yeah.
A two-part question on passports. How long are passports good for? And also, aren't some of the New York IDs and New York driver's license have something to do with passports?
So I'm not sure about the New York State IDs. I only know that passports are good for anyone over the age of 18 for 10 years. And then...
I meant, don't they include the passport, something like to travel on planes?
So the IDs are through the state, where the passport is through the federal government. You can get a passport card as well as a passport book. A passport card is good for if you wanted to travel to Canada or Mexico, but if you're going overseas to any other locations, you would need the full passport. And that's good for 10 years. And then as long as it's been less than 5 years since it's been expired, you just renew it yourself. I'm not sure about the real IDs. I have not been trained in that. So.
Something like the passport is probably good, even though you're not planning on it, in case it depends on the individual.
Yeah, I mean, over the summer and the fall, apparently, like, everyone in the world wanted to travel, so the time for passports was up to, like, 14 weeks. The government has kind of they were backlogged for a while with COVID and everything. We've been told they've fixed some of those issues, and they're back to, for a regular passport, they're processing in 6 to 8 weeks, so it's not taking nearly as long. But over the summer, I mean, they were up to, like, 14 weeks, so
Wow.
it is good to plan ahead.
Thank you.
On occasion, you publish in the paper what's going on.
Yep.
And also a list of audiobooks. I spend a lot of time in the car, and I get my books that way.
Yep.
It hasn't been published lately, but even if you can't do it, if there's something you can put up in the library, that these are the latest audiobooks.
Sure.
Available in that one spot that you have there.
The new ones, yeah.
That would be helpful to me.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And the kids, the teen tech kids are wonderful.
Yeah.
And the community room is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
it
you.
is.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good recommendation. We still publish in the paper. I think they're down to twice a month. Is that correct at the paper?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if we've lost a little real estate. I'm not sure about that, but that's a great suggestion. I'll definitely pass it along.
We have actually lost a little real estate. That's why we submit the same amount of information every time, but depends on how much space they have. And now that they're publishing only every other week, they have less space to devote to us because they have to add.
And I understand that, but if you can at least print it and put
Yeah.
it on that.
Definitely.
You know where I'm talking
Yep,
about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And actually, thank you for bringing up the paper because The drop-in programs that I mentioned and a lot of the programs that are also in our program calendar, we always have listed in the paper as well. So if you are unable to get to the library, but you want to see what's coming up, obviously, definitely check out the Yorktown News.
That's good.
I have to say that the best thing that you're doing lately is you're telling me when my books are due, and then even if I don't bring it in, you're renewing it for another couple.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, so we do have automatic renewals, which is very helpful, so that if you have a book that you have checked out and maybe you haven't finished it, as long as no one else has the book on hold, it will automatically renew for you, which is nice. So it gives
That's
you
good.
a little bit more time, so you're not always, I mean, as much as we would like you to be rushing out all the time to us, it doesn't make it that you have to, oh, perfect, good. Okay, any other questions? Yeah?
You mentioned passports. If they expire over 5 years, does that mean you have to apply as a new passport?
So it has to be expired at least 5 years, yeah. So then it would be 15 years from the date it was issued, then you're considered a new passport and you would go through the process again. Yeah, so anything other, basically the difference is if you just need to renew your passport, you're able to do that on your own. You submit your own application. For a new passport, you have to pay a processing fee of $30. So as long as you get it in within that 5-year expiration window, you don't have to pay that fee. And that's everywhere. You just renew yourself. Like the post office wouldn't do it for you. It's just something between you and the government. Any other questions? Yep.
And the passport can be used as an ID, like if I come into the library and say, okay, you want to renew your library card, show me an address ID. I can use that as an ID. I know.
So you can use the passport for an ID for a lot of things. In that situation, your passport doesn't actually have your mailing address on it. So typically for a library card, we like to have your mailing address just to make sure that you are, in fact, I mean, obviously we're in Yorktown, but if you actually lived in Somers, you would be entitled to a Somers library card. So, but you can use a passport.
Driver's license.
Yeah, or, a bill with your address and your name on it, anything like that.
Thank you.
Yep.
That just raised a question when you said a Somers library card. Are we in the Westchester library system?
Yes.
So we can go to any library?
Yeah. So the only difference of where you get your library card is where you pay your taxes. So I know that this area, like Cortland, for example, they don't have a library. So where their schools are affiliated with is the area that they're entitled to. But once you get a card for Westchester Library, you are entitled to go to any of the 39 libraries in Westchester County. I mean, I hope you visit us. You don't have to, but you can definitely go pick up. We have so many patrons who maybe put books on hold and they work in Yonkers, so they'll put their books up there, or maybe they work in Yorktown, but they live in Yonkers, so they will pick their books up with us. So yeah, we're all a network, which is great.
It's a lovely ambiance also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that one can join New York City Library and
Yep.
their books.
If you live in New York State, yes.
If you live in New York State.
Yep.
Is there any other big library that Yorktown can partner with so that we can get more audiobooks, which is what I do?
Yeah, so we are, Westchester Library System is actually one of the largest, obviously excluding New York City, in New York State. We have 39 libraries that we're partnered with, so our digital collection is with all 39 libraries. We do have a budget just for ebooks and e-audiobooks, and, definitely as for our library, at least, we try as much as possible to get as many books as we can. And definitely the great thing about being part of Westchester Library is that you also have access to all of the other libraries' ebooks as well.
So how do we do that? Because sometimes neither New York nor our library has the audiobook I'm looking for. So how do I look?
So you're just by being on the site, you are seeing what everybody in Westchester County has. If it's a book that no one owns, you can always make a recommendation and ask the library to purchase it. Unfortunately, ebooks and e-audiobooks are very expensive, and we try our best to purchase as many copies as we can. But I mean, definitely make a recommendation. I always say that helps because we obviously want to buy what people are interested in reading.
So if I wanted to get an audiobook from Scarsdale Library.
Are you talking physical or ebook? I'm sorry.
Audiobook.
But the physical copy, okay, downloadable. Yep. Yeah.
How would I do that?
So you actually don't know what library has it. It would just say, like, let's say you were searching for The Women by Kristen Hanna. It tells you there's 27 copies available. That would be like all of Westchester County. So it doesn't break it down. Like in our normal catalog, it would say, oh, the John C. Hart Library has 3, Scarsdale Library has 2. In the downloadable version, it just tells you the number of copies available. But, sorry.
So other than New York City, what other big city can we get audiobooks from?
I think you are entitled to Brooklyn as well. Brooklyn and Queens, they're their own. I believe, though, in order to do that, you have to go to those individual locations. You can't apply online for them. But you could look into that. Yeah, I can look. I'm pretty sure I had a colleague do that, and he had to go to Brooklyn to apply for the library card, where I know with Manhattan, you can just do it online. But I can definitely look into that. Yeah.
Do you still offer museum passes from museums in the city?
Yep, great question. Yes, so we do have museum passes. They are at the adult reference desk. They check out for 3 nights and 4 days. I didn't bring a list of them here, but all of them are listed on our website.
And they're at no charge?
Right, no charge. Yep. So the only prerequisite for that is you have to have a Yorktown library card. But obviously, if you're a Yorktown resident and you do not have a library card, you're entitled to get one. And that only takes like 2 minutes.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you
thanks
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before I forget, I'd like to thank Kim Penner from the tax office, who is retiring this month, and for years of wonderful service. And we have a lot of great people working in this town, and she certainly is one of them. Right? Yeah, very helpful all the time. We're happy that she's retiring for her sake, but
Not for us.
but not for us. Okay. John C. Hart and Kim Penner. Noreen, do you have anything you want to add?
No.
Okay. And how about you, Jim? Come.
So there's a question about the AARP tax phone number to call. For the library, it is 914-440-3086. And then for the Albert A. Cappellini Community Center, it's 914-440-3710. Anybody need me to repeat?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So for the Albert A. Cappellini Community Center or the YCC building or the 6th grade school, whatever you call it, it's 914-440-3710. And then once again for the John C. Hart Library for the tax help is 914-440-3086.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. All right, exciting news. We always get asked this question: when is the Parks and Rec brochure coming to your house? Probably next week. It got mailed out earlier this week. There are hard copies at Town Hall. There'll be hard copies in Nutrition, and there'll be hard copies at our rec office, 176 Granite Springs Road. So please stop by and grab a hard copy, or you'll be getting one in the mail. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. A lot of fun new programs for seniors, but specifically all the programs that I'm about to mention. On March 21st is the day you can sign up for these programs. March 21st. So mark that day on your calendar. You'll definitely want to stop by and sign up before these fill up. We have Mahjong Club, line dancing, the knitting club, senior dance and exercise, fall prevention, senior painting, forever fit, and chair yoga that we're offering this spring and summer. So definitely come sign up. The prices range from free, which you still have to register even though it's free, to $50 for, I think, the painting class is a little bit more expensive, and everywhere in between. So we try and keep the prices down for all the seniors that are on fixed incomes, just to get out of the house and do some fun activities.
Good.
So that's kind of all I had for you today,
Okay.
just short and sweet, that spring's coming and summer's right around the corner. Some other questions that were asked actually is, when do you sign up for the pool? Seniors in your town over the age of 70 get a free pool pass. You still have to sign up for it. Seniors from 60 to 69 get a discounted rate. So that's May 6th. May 6th will be the date for sign-ups for the pool.
60 to 69. Okay, and then?
Then 70 above is free. So 60 to 64, I believe, is like $40. Yep. So yeah, it's a great deal. You can come by the pool. We have 2 pool facilities that you get to utilize: Junior Lake Pool as well as Brian J. Slavin at Shrub Park. That pool as well.
Wonderful.
Any questions while I'm here? No. All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for all
Appreciate
your
it.
help.
Thanks.
Thank you. Joe, do you have anything you want to add?
Jimmy said most of it.
Okay. Deborah?
Yep.
The Deborah, as you know, works for?
Assemblyman Matt Slater.
Yep.
We have 2 things to talk about briefly. A Vietnam Veterans Day is going to be held at the state capitol. Matt's doing that. Tuesday, March 26th, 2024, starting at 11:30 a.m. It's lunch, tour, and session. You have to be a Vietnam veteran, obviously, to attend and from our district. You can contact our office at 845-278-2923 to RSVP, or you can email Brunner, BRUNNERK, at nyassembly.gov for any questions. You really do need to RSVP, and we do have some RSVPs already. I will put a couple flyers in the back. And then the next thing, just to call your attention to, Westchester County is having an Alzheimer's town hall. They're doing a listening session on Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and memory loss. It's Tuesday, March 26th, 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. at the Peekskill Senior Center, main level dining room, 4 Nelson Avenue, Peekskill, 10566. I only have one flyer, so I will put this in the back. You have to call 800-272-3900 to RSVP. It's free. It's a free event, but you have to register by Tuesday, March 19th. Sure. It's 800-272-3900. If you have any other questions about this particular program, you can call our office also, and I will get the information to you. Our office number is 845-278-2923. We have nothing to do with this. It was just something that came across that looked to be of interest to so many people at this time. And that's it.
Wonderful. Okay. As you know, our next meeting is April 19th, and that's really it for now. We have to thank our lunch sponsor, New York Presbyterian Hudson Valley Hospital. I repeat all the time how fortunate we are to have such a wonderful hospital 10 minutes from our homes. It's a great thing. And I know I used it a few days ago. And my husband rushed me over there. I had a bloody nose. Okay. And yeah, but it's here. I mean, it was a wonderful thing. If I had to drive an hour, I don't think I would have gone, so it's a wonderful thing. We thank them always. Okay, so we hope to see you next month. Be safe, be well. We're on Channel 20 and 33. So if you can't come, please watch it. And also, if you have any suggestions, excuse me, Nina.
Gee whiz.
The gavel.
Hello?
The gavel, hit the gavel.
I'll go with it.
If you have any suggestions on topics that you would like for us to pursue, just write a little note. If you don't want to put your name on it, you don't have to put your name on it. There's a box in the hall which is for suggestions, right, Diana Quast? The box in the hall? And just write senior advisory. I'm sure you sort them out, and we'll get them. You don't have to sign them. If you want to sign them, that's okay too, on topics that are of interest to you. And we'll try to, if we can't do it this year, we'll try to schedule them because we're not here for the summer, we'll try to schedule them next year. So thank you very much. Thank you for attending. Thank you.
Good meeting.